Good morning, scholars. It's Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. It's pretty clear today. There's clouds and stuff, but there's some sun, so that's nicer than it's been. Um, I'm going to start today by going over the lesson that I did yesterday, in case any of you missed it. And since nobody's on yet, I figured I'd go over this so that you guys would at least know what's going on. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And if somebody joins, just let me know that you're here, and then I will tell you what I'm doing. So let me see. I'm presenting my screen. And so I'm going over yesterday's lesson, which was to generate the 5 W's from 2 past social justice issues by using the research from the text. So this was for mini QPA 1. What you were supposed to do is the 5 W's on the 2 mental illness cases you researched: the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. So for Shakuri Ali Sayad, I put that was a 36-year-old woman. That's the who. She was Muslim. What? Her sister Aisha Hussein called 911 for help because her younger sister suffered from bipolar disorder and other mental illnesses. Aisha told the police she had a mental illness and left the house on foot with a knife. She thought Shirky would be brought to a psychiatric hospital, not shot, killed by the police. So that's what happened in the case. Then the when. It happened April 28th, 2018. Oddly enough, that is 2 years ago from today. Where she was shot to death by the police near Abbott's Bridge and Sweet Creeks Road in Johns Creek, North Fulton County, Georgia. And then why? Aisha's account of what happened was she called the police for help with her sister, and when they came upon her, they tased her while she was asking to go home and fired foam impact bullets at her and ultimately killed her. So that's really basic: who, what, where, and why, and when. And basically, I did it for both cases. So there's a Jennifer Morales, and I did the same thing. I gave you a basic preview of how you can write it and what you would do with these 2 cases. Since I gave you the who, what, where, when, and why, you would put these 2 in a paragraph format, and that would be your intro to your informative essay about the 2 cases, right? And so right here, it says, create an introduction paragraph using 5 W's about both cases you researched. Note, if you haven't researched both cases, do that first and then begin your introduction. So there's some sentence starters that you could use. I agree, I disagree, because this reminds me of a question I have is, I feel. And the guidelines for writing a reflective essay. When writing a reflective essay, always use the first person to express your ideas. Statements like I prefer, my point of view is, this will help the reader understand that you are expressing your own opinions and not facts. Explain your topic in 5 to 10 sentences in the introduction paragraph. So like I said, you would explain about both cases. Like, this is Shirkuri's case, and this is Jennifer's case. These are the who, what, where, when, and whys. This is the who, what, and where, when, and whys. Then in the next paragraph, which is the body paragraph, you would talk about the subject matter. And if you looked at the example I gave you, this is how your intro would be. In my point of view, for both cases, Shirky Ali Siad and Jennifer Morales, I believe both women did not have to get shot and killed by the police. In Shirky's case, her sister called the police, and I'm telling you about the case. Then in Jennifer's case, the police escalated her mental illness instead of trying to calm her down. A question I have is, why are the police not getting the proper training they need to handle all the mental illness cases? So that's how my introduction would start. Then if you go to the mini QPA document, which you click on and you can go to, what you would need to do next is look at this. The second paragraph is how you compare the both cases. Jennifer and Shirky's case are alike because both women are minorities. Both are women. Both had mental illnesses. Both cases, the police were called to help and they didn't help. Then you talk about how they're different. One was different because one was carrying a knife, one wasn't carrying a knife. One was killed right away, one was killed shortly after. So I talk about the differences. And then the last paragraph is I answer the question that I asked in my original introduction, and I tell how police and society should do further work to help people with these mental illnesses. So, and then last, you would want to do, if you were doing the assignment from yesterday, is the reflection. Who are your two mental illness cases about? What is one similar event that happened in both cases, and what is one different event that happened? Think about the similarities and differences. These will be used for your second and third paragraphs on Wednesday. So again, if all you do today is work on your introduction, and you know that's with the 5 W's and talking about basically how I set up my introduction in my point of view for both cases. If you set it up like that and you start writing about the two cases, that's all you have to do for yesterday's work. Tomorrow, we'll work on the second and third paragraph. So if you come to the 11:30 class that I teach on Wednesdays, we're going to work on those two sections. But those two sections, just for a heads up, are how both cases are alike and how both cases are different. And then the last section that we'll work on is the conclusion. So you have today to work on it. You have tomorrow if you want to work with me on doing the two middle paragraphs, which is the likes and dislikes. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about the conclusion and how to make a really good conclusion. So that's what we were doing for this week, is working on mini QPA 1. If you have any questions or comments or just need help with that, just let me know. Also, we'll be talking about mini QPA number 2 next. So if you have any questions about that, we'll talk about that next week. And then finally, we will recap the capstone QPA, which some of you have already started and I've given you feedback on it. And so I should be getting the feedback with the changes from you guys soon. And I'm looking forward to that as well. But that's where I am today. That's what I have for you. And if you have any questions, I'm going to stop presenting because nobody's on here right now. But if you have any questions or concerns as you're doing that, please let me know. I'm here for you until 11:30. So I'm going to stop recording. But again, if you have any questions, that is where I am with everything. Following next week, we will start on Unit 4, doing revisions for stuff that you didn't do in those units, or just stuff you did but need to, do a better, you want a better grade or just to change stuff up. We're going to do Unit 4 revisions to the mini QPAs and the QPA. Or, excuse me, if you never got a chance to do it, there'll be your chance to do the Unit 4 QPAs. And then we'll go back and we'll do Unit 3, go back and do Unit 2, and go back and do Unit 1. So you have many opportunities to make changes to your QPAs and just bring up your grades if you haven't, or revise stuff. And also, if you haven't ever attempted it, it's your chance to attempt it with help. So I hope that all of you will be willing to work on fixing and changing your QPAs. I'm gonna stop this video for now, or at least recording, but I will still be here. So